So you know how we do this show remotely? You're in whatever dungeon you're in, and I'm in whatever dungeon I'm in. So I got into a big fight with YouTube, and I've been reading stories and blogs about how YouTubers are jumping from YouTube because YouTube is scared of every fucking thing on the planet. You sneeze in the key of a song that's written by the Beatles, they block you. You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Now my big show, Fat Guy Radio Show, no longer streams to YouTube because I got in a big fight with them. So what I have to do, and this is what the fight was over. You know the video of the two little girls that got into a fight at the birthday party because the little girl leaned in and blew the 3-year-old girl's candles out. It was a trending TikTok video, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's all over YouTube. It's all over YouTube as well. Multiple accounts have this video posted. My show took footage from a YouTube account and used it in my show, and YouTube knocked us because they said it violated community guidelines for child safety. Hundreds of other YouTube accounts have the same exact video up. And it was actually a YouTuber that I snatched the video from and used. So YouTube.
It's because YouTube has that new policy now where you have to like check if it's for kids, and then if you check if it's not for kids, then
and
there's a kid in it.
separate from their community guidelines. They ripped down our show.
That's part of the community guidelines.
They ripped down my show because they thought that I was advocating for child violence.
Because of the blowing out of candles?
Because of the TikTok video, which is the same video that is on multiple other YouTube platforms.
Is that video violent?
It's two little girls fighting. If it's a violation of their community guidelines to take down videos of kids fighting, then YouTube would have no videos on it except one video that would be someone saying "bring back the kids fighting."
That's weird.
So
YouTube sucks.
It's a very weird thing. So now what we have to do is that we capture Fat Guy Radio Show on a separate capture device, but the capture device doesn't capture audio. So you and I are doing the show remotely, and we have to sync up our audio in a very archaic way of clapping. So now Fat Guy Radio Show, in order to stream up our audio to our video to be able to post on YouTube instead of live stream on YouTube, we now have, and this is visual, a movie clapboard in order to sync up the video and the audio.
Do all of you have the clapper?
No, it just runs on my feed because it's a three shot. Right. As long as it's, somewhere in the shot, we have to do the little clapper now in order to sync up our audio with our video. Thank you.
That's so annoying.
YouTube.
You know what annoys me about YouTube? So I'm a smaller channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're well aware. I mean, you see the numbers. But what annoys me about YouTube is it'll say a video has 1 view when it actually has like 40. And I feel like people are more inclined to hit a video that has 40 views than 1 view, Yeah. And YouTube just like loves to keep it at like 1-2 views, even though it has far more than that, which I feel is preventing me from getting more clicks. I may be wrong about that, but
I find the same thing. However, when I'm signed in too, because my YouTube channel is just slightly bigger than yours, and it's only that way because of the age of how long we've been on YouTube. That's the only thing. But I find that when I'm signed in to our YouTube, the views appear very low. But when I go in as just looking at YouTube, the views are higher for some of my videos. YouTube is a world of confusion and discuss, and their fucked up policies, unfortunately, and their fucked up way of doing things has been imposed upon everyone because they've marketed themselves as a platform that everyone needs.
Yeah, it's annoying. Well, listen, YouTube is great because of the fact that like it gives everyone a chance to upload a video and for eyes to get on it, which it's great for that, and it's great for like building an audience or whatever. But what's annoying about it is it like suppresses small YouTubers, and the fact that it's the only thing kind of, I mean, I remember back in the day when it was like the Wild West of the internet and YouTube wasn't a thing. And we had like things like Newgrounds, and we had, you know, E-Bombs World and all these different platforms which allowed more people to get their stuff seen. Now it's just we have one platform, and YouTube is just terrified of losing sponsors, of getting sued from you know, copyright claims, getting sued because of child endangerment. Getting, you know, potential people like terrorists posting on YouTube. So like they're just in a constant state of fear. It can't be honestly, YouTube is probably a horrible business for Google. Like they probably hate that they own it, and they can't get rid of it because there will be outcry.
I think that YouTube cornered the market, ran all those other smaller websites off, cornered the market, and then once they had it's like almost they had a plan, and they got to part 2 of their plan, and they had no part 3. And so part 2 just ended in fear.
It's true.
And now everybody is so accustomed to the fact that it's either YouTube or bust. We all now, I just imagine this gate of fear. And now everybody is just piling up against that gate of fear. There's going to be some point where there's going to be a breaking point. Something else is going to come along. We thought that MySpace was groundbreaking until Zuckerberg. You know what I'm saying? So something else eventually has to come along that will be able to break through that gate of fear.
The closest thing we have now is Twitch, right? And
there's also Vimeo. Don't forget about Vimeo.
Yeah, but Vimeo is like nowhere near YouTube or Twitch, right? I mean, the big dogs are Twitch and YouTube, and I guess Facebook too, to a certain extent.
And the former big dog was Ustream. Ustream was huge at one point. They changed their policy. They started nickel and diming everybody, and everybody jumped ship.
Well, yeah. And then also, you know, Microsoft, I think it was Microsoft had theirs, which was called Mixer, which was a thing, but they recently just closed down and fused with Facebook. Yeah, I mean, but like Twitch is almost just as bad as YouTube, and it's not really a platform for like uploading videos. It's more of a live streaming platform, and it's also very much gaming centric. You know, it's very much about video games, which I feel like Twitch is kind of trying to expand a bit as far as, you know, not just being a gaming centric platform. I mean, because you do see a lot more podcasts ending up on Twitch these days, but yeah, it's still such a gaming centric platform, which YouTube kinda is as well. I mean, they have a whole section called gaming, but I don't know, man.
They all tie together.
YouTube and Twitch.
They all tie together. You go to Twitch, you find Twitch streamers, YouTube page, and Instagram and Twitter, and it's all tied together. But it just sucks that we have a conglomerate company like YouTube, and I love Google, but I hate YouTube, and it sucks for not only creators, but it sucks for people that are trying to build a brand, because nowadays you can't have a brand or you can't build a product.
It's very hard.
Without being on a YouTube platform. And then when that platform is hard enough, you know, I don't know, dude. It just sucks. It just blows. And
yeah, it almost feels like, you know, if you're a younger, you know, YouTuber, it's almost like, fuck, I missed this, you know, I missed the train, you know?
But you should be successful on YouTube, Jake. You should have no problem on YouTube.
Why is that?
You're white, you're young, you're cute.
And I'm fuckable.
That's what everybody on YouTube is. Every YouTube successor is white, young, and good looking.
I don't know if that's fully fair.
That's 100% fair.
I will say that seems to be the demo that YouTube pushes, because let's not pretend like the YouTube trending page, like that is not an algorithm. They pick those,
Right.
Like those are hand selected. Those are not just an algorithm picking trending, because if that were true, we'd see a lot of T-Series, right? Which is like basically the Indian version of Vimeo, is the biggest YouTube channel. It is. It's the most subscribed YouTube channel, and it gets the most views. They never end up in trending or anything, which is weird.
Nope.
I understand that, they are a North American company, so they probably want to appeal to the North American companies, but there's plenty of, non-white people on YouTube who are successful, but they probably could be more successful if YouTube actually pushed them properly.
Yeah, so the only ones that YouTube...
I agree and disagree.
The only ones that YouTube are pushing, and the only ones that YouTubers paying, are young, white, good-looking individuals.
But there's so many channels on YouTube that I've never heard of, right? That I literally never heard of them, and it's like they have 6 million subscribers, and it's like, who the fuck are these people? There's so many of those these days. So I don't know.
It's frustrating. It's an unavoidable bear trap. You have to be in it, and you're not gonna like it while you're in it.
Let's start the show.
5, 6, 7, 8.
What is up, boyos? This is the Jake and Cory podcast. I'm Jake. That's Cory. How you doing, Cory?
I'm on podcast because it's my way of making friends.
Oh yeah? That's your only way of making friends? I guess these days it's hard any other way than talking online, right?
Yeah.
So it's Halloween today.
No, it's not.
Happy Halloween.
It's a day after, 2 days after Halloween. It's Monday.
Sure.
It's the day before Election Day.
You're right. No. Election Day is next week. Right? No, you're right. Holy shit, you're right.
I'm here alone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here all by myself.
Dude, you're right. I guess I just lost track of time.
Yeah, Election Day is over. And it will be either the beginning of a new era that will be on the heels of a civil war, or it will be more of the same ridiculous rhetoric and
on the heels of civil war.
On the heels of a civil war.
Yeah.
Here is the interesting thing that I learned since the last show. Do you know that it only took Hitler 4 years to rise to power?
Yep.
It's an interesting number, isn't it? 4 years.
Yep. It is interesting. I mean, I feel like people have really jumped off the Trump train. I like to believe.
Yeah, but then there's this thing that people are talking about, Jake, that's called the secret Trumpers. The ones that see how people react when they are outright, are out front with their Trump support. And there's this new thing that people are talking about called the secret Trumper, where when those polls open on Tuesday, people are going to go in there and they're going to silently support Trump. Not everybody is out there sounding the trumpet for the Trumper. There are people that are lying in wait, that are lying in silence, and they're just going to go out there, and they're the voter equivalent of a sniper.
I hope the same is true for Biden. I hope there's people that like especially in like the South, maybe even Arizona, where it's like kind of expected that you support Trump. I hope that there's a good subsect of people who are like, oh yeah, Trump is the guy, you know, and like that's what they say in public around their like Trumpist friends. But then when they get to the voting polls or like, you know, to vote, that they actually check that blue marker. You know what I mean?
That is actually a very smart way to look at it, because there are people, Arizona's known. I have lots and lots of people that have been around that save face. Basically, they just go with whatever the breeze is that day. And if they are around a group of people that are Trump supporters, then they're going to be a Trump supporter. And then when they're around people that are Biden supporters, they're going to be a Biden supporter. Or they might just be playing it down the middle and staying silent and not saying anything at all. But then when it comes down to election day, they're going to quietly be who they want to be. Everybody knows, you know, where I stand. But I would imagine that there is probably a large group of people that feel like a Trump supporter feels. A Trump supporter feels that just because he's part of their team, they have to be a Trump supporter. So I'm feeling that there might be people out there that are doing the same thing. Just because they're around people that are outwardly Trump supporters, they have to act like Trump supporters. But in their heart of hearts, they know that this dude is horrible for this country and has been horrible.
They don't want to lose their subsect of friends because Trump supporters are fucking crazy.
They're wild.
Ditch you if you don't support Trump.
They're literally wild. It's almost like it almost seems like there would be a fear at the end of this on Tuesday, where if it goes the way that Trump isn't reelected, that his supporters are going to go out and get a voter list of registered list of voters, and they're going to see who voted for who, and they're just going to go and visit every last one of those people that voted for Biden and just pop a cap in their head. Well,
so
the black ones.
I know that I hope that's not true, but you know, it is a possibility. But I think I don't think we're going to fully get the results on Tuesday.
I don't think so
like
either.
we normally do.
But here's the thing, though. It's got if it's not a landslide, bro, we're in for another ride, and there's another loop that's going to be added to this ride.
But like, you know, this year, for obvious reason, mail-in votes are up a large margin.
Huge.
So I feel like it's going to take a while to get that all accurately counted. I also feel like, you know, Trump may demand a recount.
And it's not the fact that the mail-in ballots are going to be lastly counted. Didn't the Supreme Court just look at some issue in some state where where the Trump administration was trying to stop a state from counting votes or ballots that come in after November 3rd?
Really?
There were some states that were and I'll have to look it up, but there's some states that will count ballots after November 3rd, that come in after November 3rd. And some states follow the postmark and some states don't.
I guess I hadn't heard about this.
I'll look it up.
I'd believe it. What's it called? Like the late voting thing? What is that called? You don't know what it's called? You're frozen. There you are. Hello.
Hello.
Froze there. Absentee voting, right?
Yeah. In an outrageous 2-1 decision ignoring reliant interest and rejecting the Purcell principle Eighth Circuit panel orders segregation of late arriving ballots in Minnesota with strong hints late arriving ballots will be excluded from the count.
So what does that mean, a late arriving ballot? Does that mean someone sent it in late, like past the mail-in date? Or they sent it in on the like very last deadline and they're just not receiving them until then? Because if that's the case, that's not very fair. If people are sending them in late, I guess I kind of understand. I mean, gotta be on time.
Right?
Yeah. That's why we've been telling everyone, like, if you had a mail-in vote,
if you haven't gotten your mail-in vote if you haven't gotten your ballot in at this point, I mean, dude, if there's people that are still out there undecided, I say sit this one out.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if you didn't mail in your votes, I mean, it's Monday. The election's tomorrow. You gotta go in and just do it. You gotta just go in and vote.
Yeah, you gotta mask up, take your own pen, ballpoint blue or black pen, hand sanitizer, and go in and go in and vote. Do it in person.
I know for me, the last time I went, and this may not be the case for everyone, when I went 4 years ago to vote, it wasn't too packed. So hopefully that's the case again. I have a feeling that walk-in votes are going to be down substantially for obvious reasons. So maybe if you do a walk-in vote, it won't be that crowded, hopefully.
And also,
I've also heard that they are extending the time period. They're spacing everyone out. They're trying their best to keep it clean, at least in Arizona. This is what I've heard. And they said that they will keep the polls open until everyone gets counted. So
the effing Veterans Memorial Coliseum is turned into a voting place. I mean, if you can't find a place to vote, or if you go to a place and there's too long of a line, we've doubled the capacity of voting locations. Here's the thing, Jake. It's the day before the election. If you ain't figured this shit out at this point, okay, you're an idiot. I mean, fuck, how much longer down to the wire can you figure this out? Mail-in ballots have been out for over 25 days now. The voting locations list has been updated on an hourly basis. I mean, if you haven't made a plan to vote at this point, you're probably part of the problem. Who the fuck is sitting around this in the final hour? Who are these people? No one in their right mind can be down to the last. Everyone that I know, which is not many people, have already voted. It's done and over with for them.
Oh yeah, I got mine done. Yeah, like for me, I know the election's tomorrow, and I should be putting my case out there for who to vote for, and it's like it's not necessary.
It's not necessary at this point. You know what? All the political ads can go away at this point. People have made up their minds, and if they haven't made up their minds, they're most likely going to make the wrong decision anyway.
Yeah, they're probably voting for that libertarian candidate, and libertarians are a bunch of babies. So.
Or they're probably going to fuck up their ballot, and their ballot is going to be thrown out anyway because they did something wrong, or they used a number 2 pencil instead of a ballpoint. I mean, only idiots are at this point. Idiots are the only ones that are left.
How come we can't vote on a website? Is it just like not secure enough?
They haven't found a way to do that securely. They haven't found a way to do that securely. I mean, dude, everything that's done on the website,
we do our insurance through a website.
Yeah, we do everything else through a website. We pay our bills, we bank, we look at our health records. Everything is done on the website. But then, dude, every company that we pay bills to has been hacked at some point. Every insurance website at this point has been hacked. Our banking information is hacked. I mean, there's nothing that's safe on the internet.
That's actually very true. A couple weeks ago, I had to get a new debit card because someone spent $200 worth of OnlyFans with my debit card somehow.
Oh, I thought you'd never find that out. My bad.
Yeah, I have no idea how it happened. I went to some fast food restaurant that morning, bought food, and got a call from my bank, and they're like, "Hey, these seem like transactions you wouldn't make." It's like $200 worth of OnlyFans, and I'm like, I appreciate you knowing I would not buy OnlyFans.
Did they ask you if you've been in recent contact with Cory Blaze in the last 48 hours?
They're like, we've got a list of people here. Cory Blaze, Nick Sapon. Have you talked to these people?
Please tell me Nick has an OnlyFans page. I don't care if it's $100 a month. Please tell me he's got an OnlyFans page.
So, speaking of the election and problems with America, I have a new obsession, Cory. Last week you talked about Twitch and how that's your new obsession. I have a new obsession. I watched 2 seasons of a show since our last show. Have you heard of the show The Boys on Amazon Prime?
No, but I've been seeing advertisements on Amazon Prime that were circulating between The Boys and Borat.
Oh, by the way, did you end up watching Borat?
I did. I watched it immediately after our show last week.
All right, let me talk about The Boys real quick, and then we'll get to Borat.
Okay.
Dude, The Boys is a superhero show, but it's the most original take on superheroes I have ever seen, and it's so poignant. It's such a good commentary on like our actual world. So basically, the show is like superheroes exist, and it's like DC, right? It's you've got your Superman, but his name is Homelander. You have your Flash, but his name is A-Train. And you have Wonder Woman, but her name is Queen Maeve.
Mm-hmm.
Aquaman, his name is The Deep. It's these, and they don't call themselves the Justice League. They call themselves the Seven, but they work under a company called Vought, and it's like a company that runs superheroes. And basically, the show starts off with a guy standing with his girlfriend, and he's like madly in love. It shows them madly in love or whatever. And then he's standing there, and out of nowhere, his girlfriend just explodes, just to pieces.
Ooh.
And he's just holding her hands, like severed hands. And then he looks over, and it's the Flash, or A-Train, and he was just running so fast that he accidentally hit her and made her explode.
Wow.
And that's like the start of the show. But the show is such a good teardown of like what capitalism is, and how capitalism just corrupts people, and being the people that we trust the most are maybe the people we should trust the least. It's such a good commentary. It's one of the best shows I've watched. Homelander, the Superman character, is maybe the best villain I've seen in TV since Walter White in Breaking Bad. Like, just seriously, so fucking good. If you haven't watched the show, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Super good show.
I have seen advertisements on it. I have not watched it, but maybe I will give up some of my Twitch watching time and check out The Boys.
It's a show that, like, even if you don't like superheroes, as long as you can handle a bit of like, it's a bit graphic at times. Certainly, it starts out very graphic, and it doesn't get any less graphic as the show goes on. But like, even if you don't like superheroes, it transcends superheroes. There's a few movies like that, like a few superhero shows that like transcend superheroes. I would say like, The Dark Knight is one of those, and I'd even say like Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
But this is another one of those where it's like, this is more of a commentary on actual life and humanity. It's actually a commentary on humanity more than it is about like superheroes.
Well, I think I would be okay with it because there was one point where I was into the Arrow.
Oh, this is very different than that.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm out.
Yeah, because Arrow is very much like he's a superhero and he saves the day. No one is the good guy in this show. There is no good guy. I guess like The Boys.
Is it like Suicide Squad?
No.
All right.
I mean, it's more like Suicide Squad than Arrow, but really so what it reminds me of is like the superheroes are basically like basketball players where, because like I'd say that's like the closest equivalent to like modern day superheroes in our existence is
basketball
like
players?
basketball players, sports players, they do press conferences, they're on the big screen. You see them in commercials everywhere. That's the whole thing is like these superheroes are in movies, they're in commercials, they're branded on like Wheaties, all these things. And basically these superheroes don't get a say in their life at all. They have a PR person who tells them what to do, how to act. Most of their job is not saving people. It's actually being presentable. And they do some horrible, horrible shit, which is probably true for basketball players. Not that they do horrible, horrible shit, but that they have like a PR person. They don't actually believe in what they're saying. When they go and visit, a kid on a Make-A-Wish, that's not because they want to do that. It's because their PR person is like, you need to do this. You need to say this at your press conference because this is what's going to make you look good, Michael Jordan,
Right.
So it's kind of a commentary on that. It's a commentary on how corporations are inherently evil. VOD is basically like Amazon, super, super, super good show.
Okay, well, you know what? You kind of sold me on it. I think I will definitely check it out.
So, Borat.
Very nice.
Yes. My wife.
Do you want to make a sexy time?
I like to make the sexy time, yes.
I am her father, and I put the baby in her.
Your Borat is interesting.
Very interesting. It's a bad Borat, just like that movie.
You didn't like it, huh?
Borat 1 is definitely the more superior movie, I would say. But I did watch it. I was excited to watch it, and I liked it. But compared to the first Borat movie, the first one was better. The Rudy Giuliani thing, just to jump right into the kitten and caboodle.
Yeah.
It didn't reveal nothing more that we already didn't know, that he's a sleaze bucket.
Yeah, you know what I think kind of ruined that, but I like understand why they did it. I feel like Sacha Baron Cohen went in too early. I think he should have let it play out a little bit longer.
Sacha Baron Cohen is a huge, huge star. How can a wig and a mustache throw off that many people for realizing that that's Sacha Baron Cohen? I would be interested to see the outtakes of people that they tried to set up and it didn't work. Like, did they go to another place where a guy with a fax machine where he was basically texting through a fax?
Yeah.
Did they go to somebody else and they go to like a Kinko's and realize that, and they're always like, in this movie, he only went to like no name places. There were no big brands listed in this movie because they would have figured out that it was Sacha Baron Cohen. Come on. They found the most gullible motherfuckers to be in this movie.
I mean, that's how a lot of the first Borat was too. It was a lot of just
but nobody had
crazy.
seen Sacha Baron Cohen as Borat.
So I've heard Sacha Baron Cohen talk about this, and he said a big thing that throws people off, obviously the fat suit and the beards, but a big thing that throws people off is hairline. So like if he puts his hairline like down lower, that throws people off for some reason. Like if you see someone with a different hairline, you're like, oh, that's not, like your brain sort of like disconnects for some reason.
That's so weird, but he would be the one that would know. He would be the master of that.
I have this theory about Borat too. And actually, it's not even a theory. It's probably confirmed at this point. I feel like they had a lot more planned. And like the movie, and spoilers, the movie starts with him trying to get his daughter to, Vice Supreme Michael Pence.
I did like how they kept referring to him as Michael Prince.
Yeah, Michael Pence or McDonald Trump. So I had the feeling that they had every intention to like try and snag an interview with Michael Pence, but I think coronavirus happened. I feel like they had a lot planned because you can tell that they started shooting that shit like last year.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can kind of see the timeline where when he went to that Michael Pence press conference, that's when Michael Pence was first talking about coronavirus.
Right.
And about how there were only 3 cases.
And I remember that interruption being covered on the news.
Yeah, and everyone's like, who is this? People were suspecting it was Sacha Baron Cohen, but like no one knew. I remember that too. The funny thing is that they didn't even ID him when he left. Mm-mm. Oh my God. Dude, I lost my shit when he walked in as a KKK member. Oh my God. He's like, I need to blend in, and he's wearing a KKK outfit. Oh my God. But I feel like he had a lot more planned, but it was probably hard to snag like any sort of in-person interview with anyone.
Yeah, I got that same feeling that it seemed like it went from a well thought out plan to being a panic project in a way where it seems like they had to get it out at a certain time. Yeah, we have to do something. We have 75% of the cake, but we don't have any icing. So we're going to serve the cake anyway. That's kind of like how it was still entertaining.
He certainly had every intention to get this out before the election. Like that was his main goal.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I mean, I feel like it was effective in the sense that like the things that he kind of exposed, like just going to that like anti-mask rally.
Oh my gosh.
Was pretty damning on like everyone who's there, where he got like just shots and shots of people just singing like kill him like the Saudis do, and like just saying crazy shit, infect him with the China flu or whatever. And
he basically spotlit the underbelly of the Trump supporters, literally, because those weren't extras. Those weren't paid actors. Those were real people. And I
want to know how
and those 2 guys he ended up quarantining with.
Yeah.
Holy monkey cheese.
Yeah, they obviously like knew about the cameras and stuff, and like they probably even knew it was Sacha Baron Cohen. But like I heard him talk in an interview, and he's like, the reason I did that with those guys, and those guys are genuine QAnoners. He said the reason I did that is because, well, I want to expose people. I also want to show the humanity, because he's like, ultimately, these guys, like deep down, are good people. You know, like you see it, like you see them like actually like caring for Borat and like
caring to reunite him with his daughter.
Yeah, care and like wanting to do the right thing. They just have a twisted perception on what's reality and what isn't. So that was kind of his goal as well, was to be like, yeah, these people are horrible and atrocious because some of the things they say are awful, but at the same time, deep down, these are just human beings. So don't forget about that as well, that these are just people who are horribly misguided. You know? How
do you even get to that point? I mean, how does your life go down the way of being that misguided? I don't get that. Maybe I've had a sheltered life. I don't know.
Here's the thing though, is like the reality of it is, and I hate to admit it, it could happen to any of us. You know, it really could. I know you like to think that it can't happen to you, but you know, I don't think the people who joined Jonestown before they joined Jonestown would have thought they'd be the people who would join Jonestown. There's something in our brain that if we hear something that connects with us, we're just into it. And we don't like to tell ourselves that something we enjoy is bad. Or our lifestyle is wrong, you know? If you're indoctrinated into something, it's hard to get out of the mindset that thing is fake or wrong.
I just think wrong, that dude, some people are just born with a missing chip, because there ain't nothing in this world that can make me want to just refuse to accept that something is bad.
Well, it comes down to that you know, that theory of, are people born the way they are, or is it environment? You know,
it could very well be the environment, bro. Because I mean,
because if you notice, like, I'll use Christianity as an example because that's something I'm familiar with. You know, most of the people you're going to meet in church are people who were raised as Christians. You might meet a few people who like found God because they got hooked on drugs and that's how they got off, or whatever. They were in a dark spot and they found God or whatever. But most of the people you meet are like, these are people who are raised Christian or were in high school or college when they became Christian. You know, these are people who are exposed to this thing at a young age, and it's hard to get out of it. Not that I'm saying Christianity is wrong, although it is. But you know what I mean? Like, it can happen to anyone.
I guess I don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like if you are wired correctly, there is something in your brain, no matter what, in your being, in your soul, that will tell you that what you're doing is wrong. And if you don't have that feeling, then you deserve to be where you end up.
Sometimes you have that feeling, but it's hard for you to admit that you're
then
wrong.
That means that there's something wrong with you. Dude. See, 90% of people have that chip. It's the small 10%.
I kind of reject that, and the reason I reject that, I mean, you can just look at history. You know, like, do you think everyone, you know, in Nazi Germany had that loose chip, or was it just that they were indoctrinated into it?
Yes.
Or that's the environment that they were in?
I think everyone that ended up in Nazi Germany had that loose chip, because if they did, Nazi Germany wouldn't have been bad.
But you think that the like few million of people that were part of the like Nazi party are all inherently evil?
They are not all inherently evil, but that chip that they were, the evil ones found other individuals that had either a broken chip or a missing chip,
sure, and
brought them in. It's the old saying, birds of a feather flock together. So you're not going to go out and find right-thinking individuals. I would imagine that during Nazi Germany time, there were people that rejected that regime. Those are the people that are most likely wired correctly. But then they found the ones that had a little opportunity to come through, a little chip missing, and they exploited that and they pounded that.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, I will say, I think a lot of Nazi Germany was just fear that if you don't accept it, you'll get killed.
And that's another thing as well, because fear conquers all, as we can see in the last 3.5 years, is that we've lived under a administration that just promotes fear. And I believe that that's where a lot of what we're dealing with now has come from, is the fact that people are just afraid.
You know, that's senators. The case. That's the case with religions and cults as well. Is like,
absolutely,
you build a family and you don't stay with it because you actually believe it. A lot of the times it's because, like, well, that's my family. You know, that's my community. How do I leave that community? Like, I know it's wrong. I mean, you hear it all the time. Like, Scientology, obviously we've all heard the horrible things that happen with Scientology, and you hear the people who get out of Scientology and they're like, I don't know if a lot of these people even believe it. They're just kind of stuck in it. Like you just get you see the light. I don't know, man. It's a complex topic.
It's a very complex topic.
I think it's more complex than just like someone has a chip loose, you know?
No, the chip itself is complex. I think that because here's the thing. People that get into something like Scientology and they find things that are bad about it, they get out. People that get into Scientology, they learn things that are bad about it and they stay in. Broken chip.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
maybe
some people are there. There's no way that there's somebody that's not just, I mean, dude, some of the people that have done the most heinous things in life have been broken in their life. Their chips have been broken. You know, so when you have someone that has a broken chip, they find other people that are either cracked or chipped. You have to have that. Everyone, I believe, has something instilled in them, that little secret, small little voice that tells them this situation is bad. And if you don't have that, you make bad decisions. And you make bad decisions over and over and over in your life.
But sometimes people just make bad decisions because we're people.
Yeah, those are called mistakes.
Yeah, but like you think like a dude who believes in flat Earth, like these are stupid people, obviously. They're just stupid though. It's not that they have like a chip loose, it's just they're stupid and uneducated. Sometimes that's part of it, and that has to do with the whole environment thing as well. And especially with like the internet, you find a forum that you're like, I can relate to these people for whatever reason. It's like, you know, I feel like I found a community or something.
Birds
I think
of
like
a feather.
Sometimes, I don't know, man. It's confusing.
I agree that it's confusing, but I feel that people that
I don't think people are inherently bad.
QAnon, they are people that have, if you can't see the wrong for what it is and you decide to stay and you're complacent with it, I don't see how you're not broken. Because if there is anything...
Well, everyone's broken, though. That's my point.
Well, everyone does have their level of...
And everyone's, like, looking for the answers. Like, everyone. We're all looking for, what is the truth?
Yeah,
what
but
are
it's
the
like
answers?
a maze,
and sometimes
bro. You
that
can
leads
take
us...
a corner in a maze and end up hitting your head on a wall. But what do? You don't continue to hit your head on the wall. You back up and you go another direction.
Sometimes you're like, the only way through is through this fucking wall.
And when you go through that wall, you break your chip.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But it is a very complicated, deep conversation.
But
and neither one of us are educated enough to discuss it.
But that's like the what like Borat brings to the forefront, like, is like, what makes these people like this? And I feel like he probably would have done more stuff if it weren't for coronavirus.
Yeah.
I commend him for still doing it. And I also like that he somehow managed to figure out how to make a cohesive story while COVID was going on and actually incorporated it into the like underlying story.
Yeah.
Of
who was the
Borat.
girl? Where did that girl come from?
Apparently she's like a Bavarian actress.
She was a
Russian
sneaky. I mean, she just came out of nowhere, but
good.
She was freaking amazing. And did you notice
balls.
I kept looking at her after they cleaned her up when she went after that scene with the influencer and they cleaned her up. The blonde hair and the way she stood and the way that she was dressed, she kept looking like someone that I can't put my finger on. I don't know if it's the press secretary or somebody she just kept looking like.
I have no idea.
There was a story that I feel like there was a story that was being told in Borat that was in front of us but not being told, if that makes sense. Kind of like a sleight of hand in ways that you make a statement without obviously stating it. You know what I mean? I think there was something that was going on with the way that they designed her look that we may have all missed.
I think they just made her look like your typical, Republican blonde hair,
I don't know,
big
dude.
boob,
She looks
like
like
your
somebody.
like your Tommy Lawrence, like that's what they made her look like, was Tommy Lauren.
I got really shifty in my seat a little bit when it came to the plastic surgery storyline, because with Borat movie being so real, I was like, are they really finna send this actress under the knife?
No.
I thought that they were really good. It was really gonna. I was shifty during that, man.
The reason that the Rudy Giuliani thing got cut off so quickly was actually because Sacha Baron Cohen, like he didn't have like cameras in there. He just had the mic and he could just hear what was going on, and he was actually just scared for her, and was worried that something was going to happen. So that's why he ended up running in when he did. So I would like to believe that, they did it as safely as they could.
The ease of getting a political figure in a hotel room that is bugged with cameras, that's unnerving. I mean, because there were no handheld, there were a handheld camera in the room where Giuliani was doing the interview, which a lot of interviews with celebrities and political figures take place in hotels. They set up a spot in a hotel and they meet there. But then he goes into another room and it's bugged with cameras. And why was he alone? Where was his staff? Why wasn't there a handler there with him? I mean, it just seems it almost seemed like he was setting her up to get the deed done. Where was all of his handlers? They were all outside the door. We didn't hear from them until he went outside the door and called them in. That's strange.
Back when Sacha Baron Cohen did the Ali G show, a lot of the show was him, dressed up as Ali G. And he did a lot of U.S. politicians. That's how he did it, because he was too famous in England. So he'd come to America and kind of expose us over here. And the way he would do it, or Bruno as well, the way he would do it is he would do exactly that, where he would set up an interview and it was supposed to be a legit interview, and then like a light would go out and they're like, okay, we're just going to go wait in the other room. And then, the hijinks would ensue. It's kind of a genius play.
It's very genius. I mean, if you get them in, you rope-a-dope them in, I mean, he was on, I saw it afterwards and it was just promoting the movie, but Borat in Sacha Baron Cohen in character went on Jimmy Kimmel, and it was stupid hilarious. And the girl was there as well, and I
got Jimmy to take off his pants and stuff.
They got Jimmy out of his pants, which I thought was freaking hilarious, and I loved. It's an ingenious character. It's an absolute ingenious character where it's thumbing its nose at the system in itself. But I believe the sequel wasn't as good as the original.
Yeah, I think the original was just very much a product of its time, and was also a lot more like, I don't know, subtle about its message. Yeah, it was a bit more subtle about its message.
And how long how long has it been since the first Borat came out? It's been years.
Like 14 years.
Yeah, it's been a while, so people were a little desensitized. But I also like the fact that in the Borat sequel, he exposed the fact that, he can't be Borat anymore. People follow him. People know him. And that looked like real footage. And it also looked like footage prior to the pandemic.
Yeah. It
like
definitely
earlier in the year where we were in a pandemic. We just didn't know we were in a pandemic because we didn't want everybody to panic.
Yeah, you can see the timeline in the movie.
Totally. I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed the first one more.
Yeah, well, and also, the first time seeing that character is going to be more, because it's like, okay, we've very nice, my wife,
very nice.
Yes. We've seen it. But I do find it funny that like people are like, oh man, he's so left leaning and like the message is so on the point. And it's like, did you not like get the point of the first Borat? Like, I feel like a lot of people who liked the first Borat like didn't get it because the whole first Borat is that it's him exposing the same exact thing.
Yeah, it was. It's that's like the whole precipice. So people that are pissed off about it now probably are the same individuals that haven't made a voting plan.
Yeah, like it's probably the same people, you know, they probably laughed about the first one because the first one talks about like the Jew egg and how the Jews are evil. And they probably just took that at face value and they're like, oh, yeah,
that
the
is
Jews
so funny.
or whatever.
That scene with the ladies in the church. Please don't eat me.
Well, yeah. And, you know, Sacha Baron Cohen is Jewish. So,
I know. That's what makes it so damn funny.
Yeah.
I
like it a lot.
I liked it. I liked the first one better, but I liked it. I thought it was pretty funny. And I'm glad I took my earbuds out because you totally would have spoiled it for me last week.
I don't think so. It was very subtle. I
disagree.
actually said this. I said the same thing where I was like, you know, you probably listened. one of my, I feel like one of his underrated movies was Bruno.
Yeah, there was a little black baby in that, and I don't remember seeing that movie.
Well, and that one was really exposing how uncomfortable people are around gay people. And I think it did an incredible job, and I feel like it flopped because of that, because people were so uncomfortable around gay people.
I just remember hearing about the fact that he had a little black baby. That's the only thing that I keep remembering from Bruno. And I don't even know what platform it's on to even watch at this point.
Well, because it was making fun of the whole like Madonna thing, right?
Oh yeah. That movie was a long time ago too.
Well, and Sacha Baron Cohen, you know, he said he didn't want to keep making them, those type of movies, the like undercover movies, because, and it was actually his wife, Isla Fisher, was like, it's just too dangerous, because like literally a lot of it ends with him being chased or being attacked. Like specifically at the end of Bruno, if you remember, the movie ends with him in a cage making out with his boyfriend in a cage at like a cage fight event. And there's like literally people there with like swastikas tattooed on them and shit. And yeah, like he had to.
Was he not arrested after that Mike Pence rally disturbance?
No. He was kicked out. He wasn't even ID'd. That's why like no one knew
white
that
privilege.
Was him. Yeah, maybe.
If that had been,
you could have dressed it as that too, because that was all prosthetics, you know.
I'm sure that they would have ripped that prosthetic off of him at some point. But if that would have been,
they didn't.
That's dumb.
I heard him talk about it. He's like, yeah, they never even ID'd me. I just left.
That's insane. Just walked right out. No questions. Maybe because it was Pence. If it was Trump, it probably would have been different.
Well, I'm sure it was them avoiding a bigger scene, and he was being compliant. He's like, okay, I'll just leave. You know, I'm sure that was the thing. Was like, we don't want to make a bigger scene right now because that'll look bad. You know?
Today, I don't think that would happen today. I think, even though that was months ago.
But like, Secret Service kills a man at Pence rally. Like, that doesn't look good. You know what I mean?
It wouldn't be Secret Service. It would probably be someone that's like on the sheriff posse or something.
Well, those were the guys in there, you know, were Secret Service guys protecting Pence.
Yeah, but there's only a handful of Secret Service people that travel with them. When they do that, the rest of it is leaning independent on local law enforcement.
I think you'd be surprised.
Yeah, probably so. I still watched it, and you tried to spoil it for me, but that's okay.
Yeah, I like the story, though. I liked how they made it like, oh, Borat brought the coronavirus to America. Like,
yeah, that was the ending. I thought that was hilarious. And it just like, It was funny, but it was like, why would you put that there? And I don't know. But the whole idea of bringing a wife to uh, Mike Pence and his mother, Mike Pence and his mother, I thought that was freaking hilarious. I don't know. Um, how do you feel that this? How do you feel that switching gears a little bit? How do you feel
Yeah.
that this election is going to end if Biden is on comes out on top?
I think we'll see some backlash. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't want to say something and be completely wrong. I guess all I can do is speculate.
Yeah,
I feel like we'll see some Trump supporters probably protest or whatever, but and everyone's suspecting Trump to come out. I almost have this feeling like Trump is maybe just kind of over it. I feel like if he loses, which he most likely will, I feel like he may just bow out.
I don't think he's that type of guy.
I see, like, I didn't think so either, but I think the fact that, like, I mean, Trump, like, let's be real here, like, Trump just keeps taking L after L after L right now. Like, first he catches coronavirus, then he's getting, like, roasted by Shelley Guthrie or whatever her name is. And every interview comes out bad, and, like, he's not looking as strong as he used to. I think the coronavirus really threw him off of what his actual plan was.
Do you think that you feel like he's like just throwing up a Hail Mary at this point? Because, dude, everywhere I look right now, I was watching I Could See Your Voice on stream. And granted, it was streaming on Fox Network. Every commercial was literally back to back pro-Trump commercials.
Yeah.
Do you think he's just like in the middle of a Hail Mary?
I think so. I think it also, a lot of that may have to do with the fact that we live in Arizona, and he's probably upping his marketing here because we're officially a swing state. But, we've always been, historically a red state. So I'm sure he's pushing really hard here.
We flipped blue back in the early 90s, I believe.
Yeah.
We did flip
Well, we've
blue.
always been considered like purple, but always leaning a bit more red.
Yeah, definitely leaning a lot more red. I will tell you that I am extremely anxious about it, not just for the election results, but I'm anxious of the whole thing as an African American. It just seems like, there's targets and wanted signs over our heads right now. And I believe that some of the staunch Trump supporters are the ones looking to take the kill shot. And if this thing doesn't go their way, there may be some backlash of the fact that, they're going to blame the African American community, because when you really look at the margins, it's going to be on the African American community, the Latinos and women that are either going to vote him out or vote him in. The margins are just there by the sheer numbers. So I'm very anxious about this to be over, and I know it's not going to end on Tuesday night, but I am like praying to almighty baby Jesus that on Tuesday night, even if there are votes that still need to be counted, even if we count those votes, there's no way that it will overturn the results. I'm just hoping that it's a landslide. I really am. I'm hoping that we get a landslide where it is unquestionable.
Yeah, because it's hard to refute that.
And it's unquestionable, that it's undeniable. There is no shadow of a doubt. I'm just so ready for this to be over. And I know that Biden is not the answer. but he is the
He's not,
he's the only door we have. He's the only exit strategy that we have at this point.
He's not the hero we need, but he is the hero we deserve. Joe Biden. Just to quote The Dark Knight. I guess, like, I totally understand where you're coming from, and in the back of my mind, that's there. But I am sort of like cautiously optimistic as far as like like you said, I feel, and like, you know, I said this last time, and that's why I'm being cautious about saying what I'm gonna say right now. I'm gonna say it anyway. Like, I feel like Biden's just gonna win, like landslide, like you said. Even electorally, I think he will.
I'm hoping that when the first results come in, there's just no question.
And I feel like we may see some backlash, at least until Biden takes office.
I say we do this. This is what I say. If the Rump supporters are going to get out there and protest, this is the time that the other side goes out and sabotages their protest by looting.
Yeah,
like
true.
they did with the Black Lives Matter, like they did with the Black Lives and protests, where a small group of people were going out and causing, they were looting and causing riots on the other side of town. When the Trump protest, well, probably not a good idea, because I'm sure that the Trump protests are probably going to be littered with people carrying firearms, and none of them would get arrested. So that probably wouldn't be a good idea, but it was a thought that entered my head.
Yeah.
Because it'd be a Trump supporter that will say, America, pop, and pop somebody
I'm just
that's
hoping,
trying to break a window.
You know, if Biden wins, I'm hoping Trump just secedes, just backs the fuck off.
If there's any shadow of a doubt, man, he's not. You have to realize this is a man that has never succeeded to anything. He has never given up on anything. He tried to sue the network that canceled The Apprentice. He doesn't give up.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I can't tell you that I'm not nervous. I'm very nervous, not only for the election results, but I'm nervous for the fact of the color of my skin. Never have I ever felt like there was a price tag on my head before than I do right now in this country.
Yeah. I just hope, you know, I hope Biden wins, and I hope
landslide.
Trump
and
I hope
slide.
I hope Trump isn't an asshole, and, you know, as soon as Biden gets office, once he gets in there, I have a feeling we'll just go back to business as usual.
Yeah, we'll go back to business of him lying and not doing anything that he said he was going to do, and the do nothing Congress will be back, and the Senate won't do a fuck all thing at all. Amy Coney
Barrett.
Amy Coney Island won't. She'll be a distant memory in our head, and then when we see something pop up out Supreme Court, we'll be like, oh look, there's that judge. You know, we'll be so distracted and so far removed from this, where I just want one thing, just a sense of normalcy. I want to go back to bitching about the president not doing nothing.
I saw a great interview with AOC, and they tried to like gotcha her, you know, like gotcha.
I've never seen her. What's her name? I'm gonna Google her face real quick.
Just look up AOC. It's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But I saw a great interview with her where they were saying, you know, Joe Biden disagrees with you on fracking, and how can you vote for someone like this? Like, you guys disagree on this fundamentally. And she's like, yes, we do disagree, but I would be happy to fight against him in the Supreme Court and to fight against him through legislation. And that's why I'm voting for Joe Biden, because I would rather have disputes with him than the other person. Yeah. And that's just the bottom line.
Yeah, that's true, because this administration, no one was willing to ever dispute or fight. AOC, good looking girl, dating a dude from Arizona.
Hell yeah, it's me.
Riley is from, your name's not Riley, she's from Arizona. Riley. Wow. Hats off to you, AOC.
Yeah, AOC, she's the future of our country, thank God.
Young too. Young.
Yeah, she's like 30 something.
She's 31 years old. Young, from the Bronx. What's up? Holla.
They tried to gotcha AOC because they're like, how can we trust her? She was a bartender. And she's like, yeah, I was like a normal person before politics. That gives me more perspective than any of you fucks. And everyone's like, oh shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Because it's like AOC is like a real person. And yeah.
Hey.
That's the same reason people love Bernie Sanders. Like, he's just a dude who like took the train, you know?
It's so funny that when you say that, I was scrolling through Google Images and I found a picture of AOC and the burn.
Yeah, good friends. Because here's the thing about Bernie. Bernie was never rich until he ran for president last time. And he sold a book. And then he made a wealth because he sold a New York Times bestseller. But before that, he was just your average politician who made, like, you know, he was living fine, but he wasn't like a millionaire.
Right. Hey.
Anyway.
I would vote AOC.
Hell yeah. She can't run for president yet, but next election she can.
Next election. Oh, are you predicting something, Jake Woods?
AOC could be our youngest president ever and our first woman president.
I'm telling you right now, if our next president after this election isn't younger than 50, Jesus, we got to stop dealing with these old people, man.
You know what? I would settle for 50.
We need to put an age cap on being able to run for president.
Yeah, 70 would probably be a good age cap.
65. 65, if you can qualify for Medicare, you cannot be president.
Can't. Yeah, I don't know. 70 seems like a good cutoff. I don't know. I don't mind a 60. 65 isn't what it used to be. You know what I mean?
I'll meet you in the middle, Jake. 67.5.
Okay. Sounds good.
Good.
Well, Cory, it's been a good show. I enjoyed that conversation that we had about Borat. It really got me thinking about like existential stuff, you know? But yeah, check out Loner Gamecast every Tuesday. This show every Monday. We'll be back next week to talk about the election and what happened. Nervous, I'm sure.
If there is even, I'm telling you this right now,
good.
Jake, if Trump is reelected, I'm quitting every show I'm a part of.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm throwing
Can
the
we do
towel
one
in.
more?
Nope. This will be it. So if y'all reelect Trump next Tuesday, it's been a good run.
Fuck.
For Jake and Cory and Fat Guy Radio Show.
Well, I'd like to put out a calling card for a new co-host.
Position will be available if Trump is reelected.
Leave a comment. DT at Fat Guy Radio Show. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Subscribe, too. We need more of those.